You're listening to Wonderful Life with Tom Rohr. From Rogers to Bedford Falls, from Fayetteville to Pottersville, we're discovering how one person's life can have an effect on so many others. My guest today is Suzanne Clinard. Suzanne envisions a world where every girl knows and activates her limitless potential and is free to boldly pursue her dreams. Welcome, Suzanne.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's good to have you here. So our audience can get a chance to know you a little bit better. Would you tell us about yourself and your family?
I was born in Southern California. I was raised in Huntington Beach. I went from kindergarten through high school at Huntington Beach schools. I left and went to UCLA, got my degree in kinesiology. Kinesiology.
So you're going to have to tell us what kinesiology is.
The study of human movement. I was actually pre-med.
Okay.
And that seemed to be a fit for me, so I took all the pre-med classes. But when I got out, I'm from a family of 5. I have an older brother and a younger sister. I went to UCLA and never left Los Angeles after I graduated. I loved it. I love LA.
So how about your family?
My family, my father was a CPA, and my mom was a marriage, family, and child therapist.
And you're married?
I'm married. I'm married to a construction manager. I met him actually in real estate. So when I graduated, my father had a major heart attack and medical school was going to be put on hold and I was going to have to earn the money. So I got a job in a real estate company, and it happened to be a real estate development company. And I started working there and realized that, business is not so bad. Maybe I should go back and get my MBA instead of a doctorate. So I went to school at night and did my master's in business administration.
Now, how long did it take you to get that?
5 years, because I didn't have a background on my undergrad for business, so I had to do some prerequisite classes.
Okay. So it sounds like you pursued that pretty full time then.
No, it was just in the evenings. I worked full time for the commercial real estate company.
Wow.
I worked full time, and then I went to school at night.
Okay.
And on the weekends, worked with study groups and...
So you were a busy person then?
Very busy, yes. Okay. Yeah, but it was what I wanted, so that's what I did.
You grew up out in California and lived there all your life.
Yes.
What brought you to Arkansas?
Well, when in commercial real estate, I met my husband at another development company that I went to work for, and he got the opportunity to come out here to build the Ozark Airline Services hangars, and they were huge. And I remember flying in here and landing, because it was just when X&A had just opened. And they had one hangar done, and it could possibly have been 7 hangars. And we fly in, and we had a little girl, and she was only 6 months old. And we fly in, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is huge. And I just start crying because I knew I couldn't tell him no. I had to follow him because we had a little girl together. Okay.
So when you first came out here, you were just kind of looking at
I was a stay-at-home mom.
But you were looking at the opportunity as from a business point of view.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, for him. Yes, definitely.
So how has it been getting used to the 4 seasons that you have here and just life in Arkansas?
You know, and when people have moved here over the years, because that was in 1999, and when I would meet people at the gym or I'd meet people in some of the organizations that I was volunteering for, and they would be coming from major cities, and I would just tell them, you know what, every day it gets better here. I mean, I remember when we first moved here, and in order to shop, you had to go to Tulsa or you had to go to Kansas City, and every day it gets better.
Yeah.
Every day more things arrive.
Yeah.
I think one of the restaurants that was here when we first was like the Village Inn.
Right.
And I don't eat meat, so it was very difficult. You'd have to drive down to Fayetteville to get fish.
Right.
So every day it gets better.
Yeah. Well, now it's hard to keep up with all the new restaurants that are opening all the time.
Yes, and there's so many restaurants that are unique to this area.
Right.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're blessed, and many of them fly ingredients in from other places, so there seems to be something for everyone.
Yes. Lots of choices now.
Well, Suzanne, we want to talk today about your involvement with an organization, 501c3, called Girls on the Run. Can you tell us a little bit about that organization's story, and also how did it get to Northwest Arkansas?
Well, how it got to Northwest Arkansas, where there were 3 women, Vina Hyde, Jane Sears, and Deborah Sensor, And Vina Hyde had heard about this organization in Kansas City. It's a national organization, but every council is independent, an independent 501c3, or else they're an affiliate of another 501c3. And so Vina Hyde, Deborah, and Jane wanted to bring this organization to Northwest Arkansas, so they affiliated themselves with the Boys and Girls Club of Benton County. So in the fall of 2004, they started Girls on the Run of Benton County as part of the Boys and Girls Club. And they had 8 girls, and the 3 of them were coaches. As they were doing this, they realized that they want to be able to offer this opportunity to Washington County residents as well. So they needed to form their own 501c3 and form their own council. So they formed a steering committee in about 2008, and then in 2008, late 2008, they filed for their own 501c3 and became Girls on the Run of Northwest Arkansas. So the spring of 2009 would have been the first season as Girls on the Run of Northwest Arkansas. But in order for them, one of the reasons why they wanted to grow was because they realized how necessary it was for the girls in this community, and that the only way for them to belong to the group, to the Girls on the Run, was that they had to also be part of the Boys and Girls Club, because they were an affiliate of the Boys and Girls Club. So to reach a wider audience, they knew that they had to form their own 501c3.
Okay. So now, had these ladies had some experience with this particular organization in another place, or
no? Vina was exposed to it just by knowing that it was available and researched it, and then so they went to council training, which the founder of the program is Molly Barker, and she is from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay.
And so they went to Charlotte, North Carolina, and took training, and then came here and then started as the affiliate of the Boys and Girls Club, and then realized that in order to expand it, they needed to form their own. So unique among other councils is that we're able to offer this program to more girls because we've raised enough money through this giving environment that we have here in Northwest Arkansas. It's such a giving community that we do through sponsorships and grants and individual donations and in-kind donations. We're able to support 90% of the girls. Just in one district itself, we're almost supporting all of the girls who are participating in Girls on the Run at no cost to its participants. We only ask for donations if the parents are able to make donations.
Okay. So now, were you involved early on?
I wasn't really. Deborah knew me through the Junior Auxiliary of Rogers Bentonville, and she knew that I was a runner. And she used to always tell me, "Oh, you need to come out and coach. You need to come out and coach." And Alyssa, my daughter, Mark's and my daughter, was a little young at the time. I said, "Well, it's not the right time for me. It's not the right time for me." And then about in 2009, they asked if I would coach, and I said yes. And I went to coach at the Boys and Girls Club.
So you started out and you had 8 participants?
Well, there were 8 participants in 2004.
In 2004?
Yes.
Okay.
In the spring of 2009, I think they had like 150, 160 participants. And then the fall of 2009, we had about 200. We've had 938 in the fall of 2016. This last fall, we had 824.
Wow.
And this spring, we have 602. So what we are is we're a 10-week program. And the girls register for this program. We meet twice a week for 1.5 hours. The coaches get to pick the days that work best for them. And then at the end of the 10-week period, we have a culminating 5K that we actually then celebrate the girls. We don't time them, but we celebrate them crossing the finish line. Because this is not really a running program. This is really a program to teach the girls life skills that will translate for them for the rest of their lives, as well as running.
Now, how many coaches does it take to accommodate that many runners?
Well, right now we have 140 coaches.
Wow.
So each site is a team of girls between 15 and 20. And so you need 2 coaches for every 15, or you need 3 coaches for 20 girls. And then each site can have a different number of teams as well.
So how do you target the individual young ladies to get involved in the program from the beginning?
To participate?
Yeah.
So this program is geared for 3rd through 5th grade, and then we have another program for 6th through 8th grade.
Okay.
And so what we do is we actually have our coaches talk to the girls and let them know that this program is available to them and see how many are interested to have the site. I mean, once we've approved the site. Mm-hmm. More word of mouth from the girls' perspective is how it spreads. I remember when I first went to the Boys and Girls Club, it ebbs and flows for the number of girls that register. And we had 8 girls who wanted to do the program. But once those girls did the program and talked to their other friends, the next time we came out, we had 20 girls who wanted to do the program because they had heard about it.
Okay. So how often in a year's time do you run the program?
We do 2 seasons, one in the fall and one in the spring.
Okay. So you're probably coming up on one, or are you already in one?
We're already in one. Yes,
okay.
We're already in one.
Okay.
Yes.
So why don't you take us through you said 8 to 10 weeks?
10 weeks.
10 weeks. So why don't you take us through the 10 weeks? What are the girls doing, and what's the program all about for them?
So the program is all geared towards inspiring them to be joyful, healthy, and confident, using this experience-based curriculum. And the curriculum is actually set out like lesson plans. So we train the coaches. We have a training. We train them how to coach. It's not really how to coach so much as it is while you're there, we want to bring your context into coaching with the girls and try and understand their context. And you want to relate to them because it's about making connections with the girls. It's about letting the girls know that this is a safe place that they can talk, they can be themselves. And it's also about teaching them how to care for themselves, how to care for others, how to be competent, how to build up their confidence, how to build their character, making intentional, positive responses. This afternoon's lesson for our group that we're going to be coaching is called Stop and Take a Breather. So it's about when something happens and you might find yourself angry or want to respond, you want to stop, you want to take a breath, you want to review what your response will be, then you want to think about what your response will be, then you want to respond, and then you want to review the response. And was that really appropriate for what was going on?
Very good. Well, you pack a lot into that. And I was looking at your website this morning, and within your website, when you combine those kind of things, you get to something you call contribution.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about contribution?
Well, at the end of every 10 weeks, the girls choose some sort of contribution to make to the community. And so it has to be done during their lesson. It has to be something that they actually choose themselves. So we as coaches just try and facilitate, what can be done and what can't be done in the time frame that we have. And so in particular, my group held a hot chocolate and bake sale. So they brought items and they put up posters throughout the Boys and Girls Club to let them know that they were having it. And they raised $177. Yes. And they raised it for an animal shelter.
Okay. So there are other activities involved, and those might benefit things outside of your organization. Mm-hmm. And that's the contribution.
Yes.
Beautiful. And you're teaching that to them at an early age.
Contributing back to the community, yes.
Okay. I love that. So could you share, not individual girls, but can you share some of a story or two about the effect that this particular program has on individual girls?
Yes. So I happen to have one right here. If you want me to, this is just an impact story from one of the girls. She wrote it herself.
Yeah, absolutely.
It says, Girls on the Run has been an amazing activity, and I am so glad I got to participate in it. Over the past semester, I don't think I can say that I have gotten better at running, but I will say that this has had a great impact on me. It has gotten me such amazing friends and has helped me become more open with others. Everyone is so supportive, even if I fail, and they are so fun to be around. I am glad I got to experience this, so thanks to my coach for teacher pressuring me to do this. That was from one of the girls.
Okay.
A lot of times it's about making friendships. It's about someone feeling isolated, and then when they come to Girls on the Run, they actually make friends, and they feel love.
Yeah.
And they start to learn how to love themselves.
Yes.
We did have one mother who came back and told a principal, this young girl had done the program, The program is actually designed to be repeated. So because there are different curriculums, it's similar learning skills that we're teaching them, but we're doing it in a different way with a different activity. So this girl had done Girls on the Run for several seasons. And when she got into junior high, she was invited to a party. And she thought it was a sleepover party with her girlfriends. And when she got to the party, it was actually a sleepover that had boys and had alcohol. And she called her mom on the phone and she said, "Mom, I don't feel comfortable. Will you come get me?"
Very good.
So the mother came to tell the principal because she said that she knew that this was the effect of her being in Girls on the Run, that she could make this decision, and she made the decision for herself.
Now, one other thing that I saw on your website was you talk about developing connections. Mm-hmm. What kind of connections are you hoping that the girls develop during the program?
Well, connections between themselves, mm-hmm. between their team members, mm-hmm. and respect. Connections with the coaches in a different way than sometimes a lot of our coaches are teachers. When they come out there, they're to take their teacher hat off and they're to be coaches and mentors for the young girls. So it lets them see a different side of, let's say, if it was their teacher that they had, it lets them see a different side and they make connections with them. And then connections outside, connections more with their parents, connections with their siblings. Because one of the things that we're trying to help them with is to manage their emotions so that they can learn to better handle things that are happening on the outside and not just what's happening while we're doing Girls on the Run.
Also, you have several events planned throughout mm-hmm. the year with Girls on the Run. Can you take us through the events that you have?
Well, we really have 2 events that are open to the public.
Okay.
And currently what's coming up is our out-of-the-box luncheon on April 6th. It's at Avondale, and this is a small luncheon where I say small, it's because it's 250 people. It's not at the John Q. Hammonds.
Okay.
But it's an intimate environment where we let you know the impact that Girls on the Run of Northwest Arkansas has had. And then it's for our donors and our sponsors and potential donors, and it's a way for them to find out more about Girls on the Run.
Now, do you have other events later on in the year, too?
We also have in November our Fall 5K, which we do at downtown Bentonville Square. It's always the Saturday before Thanksgiving, and that one is open to the public. Okay. It's the culminating 5K for the girls, so it's the end of our 10-week season, and it's open to the public to run and encourage the girls as well.
Now, I have to ask the question. I know running is a very popular sport in Northwest mm-hmm. Arkansas. Do you network with the schools in their running programs or maybe some clubs?
We do with to find buddy runners for runners. So we're not really a running program so much as we are about setting a goal, which is let's accomplish this 5K and then accomplishing it. And we have walkers, we have run walkers, we have joggers, and then we do have some runners. I mean, we do have some girls who have figured out, wow, I really like to run. And then they run and they go on and they participate in cross country and they participate in track and field when they get older. And some of them come back and actually junior coach when they're in high school and help the other girls.
Wow. And that really just helps you grow and
mm-hmm.
and you really offer something for everyone.
Yes, we do. I mean, and I just received an email from one of the parents in my group asking me about her daughter, and she said, she's not into competitive sports. But this has drawn her out to, one, make her more active. And she doesn't really like running, but she'll run and then walk. But it has made her more confident and self-love. And she can see it. She can see it in her daughter's eyes.
Well, so if a listener is interested in getting involved, what would be your recommendation as the best way to either talk to you or get involved with the organization?
So they can go to our website, which is www.gotrnwa.org, mm-hmm. and my email is on there, and they can reach out to me. We have several opportunities for volunteering. We always need volunteers for our 5Ks, which is a time for them to just come out and cheer the girls on. We do a spring 5K, but it's closed. It's just for the families, the girls, and the coaches. And that's more because of the expense of having to register for 5Ks. So if a family member wants to run in the 5K in the fall, they have to register and pay a fee. But in the spring, they get to just do it because we put on the 5K and it's no registration.
And it's great to see you growing, and we appreciate you taking us through that. Suzanne, I'd like to run to our lightning round here. I had a few questions just to give everybody a chance to get to know you a little bit better. 3 questions. First one, which 2 organizations outside your own do you know the most people at and why?
Well, the one I probably know the most is Home for Dinner, which is an organization that thanks veterans for their service. They give them gift cards so they can take their family out to dinner, or they give them a bag of groceries. I actually sit on the committee to help with the annual event for that one. So the other organization that I know very well is Girls Bike Bentonville. I happen to be a member, and I do ride with them. They have group rides on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and they are a huge supporter of Girls on the Run.
So what would we find you doing when you're not at work? What would we find you doing?
You would find me training at the present moment in time. I like to read, but I'm training for an Ironman.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes, I am.
Have you done one of those before?
I've done a half Ironman, and I was training last year, and I was 6 weeks away, and I fell, and I braced myself just right where I did a really good job of fracturing my wrist.
Oh, goodness. Now you're all healed up from that?
I'm all healed up, and so I am back to training, and so that's what I'm working on right now.
Okay. Getting your strength up.
Biking and running and swim.
All right, last question. How would you rate your memory?
My personal memory is excellent. Ask my husband, he'll tell you, oh my goodness gracious. They say she has a memory like an elephant.
I love it. Well, Suzanne, thank you so much for joining us today and telling us a little bit about your organization. It's been great to meet you, and we look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for listening to Wonderful Life. And remember, the only things that you can take with you is that which you give away. This is Tom Rohr, the richest man in town, signing off till next time.
This is the Padua Podcast Network. PaduaMedia.com